The movie begins with a girl named Ellie who has returned to her town after many years because her classmates' two friends are getting engaged. Her friend's name is Deepika. During the reception, while she was standing downstairs talking to her friend Deepika, Deepika's fiancé was talking to Ellie's ex. Ellie and her ex liked each other very much. But they had a fight over something. Because of this, they grew apart, and today all these people were meeting after so long. After the engagement function ends, the four friends sit together and talk. Today is the 4th of July. So, the four of them decide that on the 4th of July, they will go to the mountains and watch the fireworks from there. Just as they are about to get in the car, they see their other friend, whose name is Stevie. They thought, since we are going out together after so long, why not take her along? Here we find out that Stevie works at a bar, and when Ellie went to her, she refused, saying, "Sorry, I have some work. You guys go." But Stevie's friend said, "I will look after things here. I will manage all the work here." So, trusting her friend, she goes with them. They were driving forward alongside the cliff in the car when suddenly Deepika's fiancé lets out a scream, which scares the rest of them a lot. It turned out it was just a joke. Soon, these people reach their destination and get out of the car. Deepika's fiancé was behaving in a strange way, as if he had lost control. Suddenly, another car started coming towards them, and seeing this, he refused to move from his spot. The others got very angry at his actions, and then at the last moment, Ellie's ex moves him from the front. Everyone looks at him angrily. But the other car coming from the front veers off the road and crashes into the barrier. It got stuck right there in the ravine. Seeing this, everyone got very scared. They run to the car to save the driver, who was very badly injured. But despite a lot of effort, the car door wouldn't open. The car kept moving forward. Everyone tried to pull it backwards, but it was of no use, when suddenly the driver grabbed Deepika's fiancé's shirt. But somehow, he quickly freed himself from it, causing the car to fall into the water in the ravine below. Ellie and Stevie started saying that we should save him. But there was no visible path to go down. Deepika's fiancé was going to call the police. Then Deepika says, "It was just an accident. Don't think so much. Accidents like this keep happening on these roads." But Ellie's ex says, "We were standing in the middle of the road here. It's our fault. In a way, we are responsible for his blood." A little later, Deepika's fiancé returned. He said that the police are coming and we should leave this place. Stevie and Ellie didn't think this plan was right. But Deepika's fiancé convinces them that they will go to the police station.
When they saw the police passing by, they left that place. They started turning towards their home. Seeing this, Ellie was surprised that they were not going to the police station. Everyone reaches their home. Deepika's fiancé started saying that now we all go our separate ways and forget this matter forever. He says the police will handle this case and there is no need for us to worry now. Ellie doesn't like their idea and leaves without saying anything. A year had passed since this accident. Ellie returned to her town again, for Deepika's bridal shower. Yes, you heard right. Now she is getting married, but not to her fiancé, but to some other boy because she had broken up with her fiancé after that incident. Ellie met a girl on the flight who is a podcaster. Hearing that she was also going to the same place, Ellie asks her for a lift. Ellie's ex had come with his car to pick them up. So, both girls got in the car and started going. Seeing this, Deepika was very happy and meets Ellie very nicely. Stevie also comes and meets her here. After that, Deepika sits among everyone and starts looking at all the gifts they had given. Just then, a letter fell down. As soon as she opened it, there was a card inside on which was written, "I know what you did last summer." Deepika is surprised and starts asking who sent this, but no one knew. Later, she shows them the card and tells them that this must be the work of my ex-fiancé because he had gone crazy after last year's incident and that's why we broke up. Ellie's ex, talking about that incident, says that the man who died had no family. Deepika's ex's dad, who is also the town's mayor, had handled that case so that his son's name wouldn't come up in that accident. Now the group reached Deepika's ex-fiancé's place. He is surprised to see them. When he sees the letter, he gets very scared. He says, "I have nothing to do with this." At night, when Deepika was at her home, she felt someone's presence outside the window. When she goes to see who is outside, her fiancé grabs her from behind. He thought that maybe Deepika was nervous because of the wedding. So he relaxes her. Deepika goes to take a shower. While outside, her fiancé starts drinking. To relax herself, she sits in the tub and starts meditating when suddenly the lights outside come on. Seeing this, her fiancé was surprised and went outside to check. But the lights went off again. He was looking carefully into the darkness. Then he comes back. But then suddenly, an arrow pierces through his shoulder. He was about to fall. But he holds on to the pillar behind him and stands up. Deepika had headphones in her ears. So she couldn't hear anything. He had fallen down, but after a little effort, he stands up again. Then he realized that the killer had arrived, who shoots another arrow. The killer then came to him and then took his life with a large hook. We couldn't see the killer's face because he was wearing a mask. After bathing, Deepika feels fresh. She heard that the music downstairs was still on. So she goes downstairs too, when she is stunned to see a terrifying sight. A rod was pierced through her fiancé's throat, and written above in his own blood was, "You can't erase the past." She panicked a lot. The next morning, everyone was sitting together. They started trying to understand what is happening. They take each other's friends' names who might know about last year's incident at the bar. Ellie and Ellie's new podcaster friend are mentioned, who had recently done a podcast about a new killer, which Deepika plays. In it, she talks about a 1997 murder. All of them were killed by the same killer with a hook. Now, knowing that the killer who killed all these young boys and girls was the same one, the hook killer, they are all quite shocked and were also scared. But Ellie says thinking that podcaster is the killer is madness because she just met me. The next morning, Ellie meets the podcaster and starts asking, "Can you tell me a little about yourself?" The podcaster took her to an old house and, behaving like a madwoman, kept repeatedly talking about the 1997 murders that the serial killer had committed. Then she whispers in Ellie's ear that the killer left a note for his victims, those he will now hunt and kill. It said, "I know what you did last summer." And she shows it to her too. She also tells Ellie about a professional lady and a man named Ray who were survivors of that town's incident, the two people who survived alive from the killer. She starts scaring Ellie even more. She says, "Wait," and goes upstairs herself. Ellie calls for help. As her weight increased, she suddenly sees the killer standing in front of her. She thought it must be the podcaster playing a joke on me. But she was seen upstairs at the same time. This meant the killer was really in front of Ellie. Suddenly, the killer attacks Ellie. Ellie keeps saving herself from every attack. She injures the killer with a knife. Then, pointing the knife at the killer, she locks herself in a room. After a while, when she realized the killer was no longer there, she came out. Just then, the podcaster also arrives there. But then a large cage falls on Ellie, trapping her. She says panically to the podcaster, "Go quickly and get help," so she runs away from there. The podcaster finds herself in a hand-operated lift. So she started pulling it. But at the same time, the killer had also arrived here. Ellie also starts trying to remove the nuts of the cage. Meanwhile, the podcaster had reached an upstairs storeroom where many dummies were kept. The killer comes from behind and grabs her neck, and when he tries to strangle her, she somehow removes the killer's mask. Whoever it was, the podcaster recognizes him. In that much time, Stevie had arrived to help Ellie, and as soon as they get out, the podcaster's body falls from above and hangs. The police arrive at the crime scene and start handling the case, saying there is a meeting tomorrow morning in a town hall, so it is necessary for all of them to be there. They didn't know what to do now. But Ellie had a plan. Actually, it was the survivor professor who was teaching her students. As soon as she comes out, Ellie immediately goes to her. But she didn't want to talk about that past incident. But Ellie requests her, pleading for help. Now because she had also been through this situation this time, she agrees to listen to Ellie, and Ellie brings her to her home. Ellie asks, "Can you come to town with me?" In response, the professor says, "It's no use. There's only one way, to find out who is doing such a bad thing. Meaning, who is the killer. It is very important to find him." At the town meeting, the police tell everyone that the podcaster killed herself because we have her history, which proves her mental condition was not right. Hearing this, Ellie and her ex stand up and start speaking among their friends. Ellie says that she is not the killer, rather, when I went to the killer's house, the killer was really there who followed me and tried to kill me too. Hearing this, everyone is now surprised. But the police don't believe it. They said, "Sorry, but we need proof. We can't just believe your words." Meanwhile, Ray arrives, the town's other survivor who had survived the killer with the professor. He sternly says that you should believe them and look into this matter seriously. The police say, "Yes, we will. But in such matters, we always take the father's help, who was sitting right in front of them." He stands up and says, "Anyone who needs help can come to my house." Now Stevie goes to Ray because she never knew he was also a survivor of that killer. He says, "I don't like to talk about it." Then Stevie says, "I have come with my friends to ask some questions." Here it is revealed that Ray was previously the professor's husband. He doesn't like at all that my ex-wife, that professor, told these people to find the killer. Deepika's ex-fiancé says, "I only see one solution, and that is to run away from this town." But Ray, who knew about this very well, says that wouldn't prove to be a good idea. Meanwhile, they look at the police report, according to which the dead man was driving drunk, and the car was also stolen. Ray says we need to find out who the car was registered to. So they go to the town's car service where cars were rented. They start asking the man there if they can get information about an old car. "We don't have the license plate number or anything." Ellie starts acting here, saying, "He was my brother who was killed in that car accident." So the man pulls out the information for them. Ray decides that with the information received, they will find the car. Deepika and her ex-fiancé reached the cemetery to go to the dead man's grave. They saw fresh flowers placed on his grave. When the cemetery caretaker arrived there, they asked, "Do you know who placed these flowers?" He says, "No, I don't know." Then they start requesting him to show the CCTV footage, and he also agrees. He goes to check the CCTV, and just as he is about to find out, the killer comes from behind and slits his throat. Now it was quite late. The man hadn't returned yet. So her ex-fiancé went to check. While Deepika stayed there waiting. And as soon as she turned around, suddenly the killer appears in front of her. She panicked a lot. Running, she hides in a storage room. She found a telephone there. Just as she tries to make a call with it, the killer arrives there. Deepika immediately hid under the stage, and the killer was walking above her. Soon, the killer found out about her and attacks her. The killer drags her out and throws her down. He was about to kill her when her fiancé arrived there. He pushes the killer aside and saves her. The killer immediately ran away, and he comforts Deepika. The professor, who was at her home, felt that suddenly someone had come to her door. It was none other than Ray. She lets him in, and he said, "I only came because I am disappointed that you told Ellie to find the killer. Although you know well that it could cause everyone's death." Meanwhile, all the friends were sitting together. Deepika was also recovering now. Meanwhile, Ellie's ex felt strange. So, to fix his mood, he comes to his car. But when he returned, he saw that the door was locked from the inside. He was going towards the window, but then the killer comes from behind and starts strangling him with a rope, suffocating him. The neck bone broke due to the constriction, and he died right there. Ellie moves the curtain and sees that his car is driving away. She immediately starts calling him, but he was already dead, and the phone was also lying next to the corpse, and the killer was driving the car. The next morning, Ellie went to Deepika's father. Deepika felt something strange, so she goes to the father's chamber on the pretext of going to the washroom. The father, seeing Ellie, started behaving strangely with her. Meanwhile, Deepika sees the father in a picture in a book with the dead man. Meanwhile, a woman came to get a book, so the father goes inside to get the book. Seeing him coming, Deepika hides in a cupboard. The father felt something strange here, but Deepika was lucky that he just took the book and left. Both of them reached the police station that evening to tell them about it, but the police don't believe them. They think they are accusing the father, and the police officer gets up and walks out. He tells them to wait. Meanwhile, Deepika's fiancé was taking steam in the heating room. Right there, he sees a stranger in front of him. Then, as soon as he closed his eyes to relax a bit and looked again, no one was visible there. He got up to check and, as he moved forward, saw written on the door, "You are next." At the police station, Ellie got tired of sitting and, just as she was about to leave, she realized that both of them were locked in the police station. She shouts for help, but the police don't pay attention to them. Here we find out that Ray is actually Stevie's boss. He tells her, "I promised your father I would always take care of you, and I am doing that." Deepika's fiancé was sitting comfortably at home, drinking. He sees the gate opening by itself. So, as he goes to check, he saw a statue in the corner. But he doesn't notice that the real killer was standing right behind him, who attacks him with a knife in the blink of an eye. But here, he starts fighting the killer. He starts grappling with him. He punches him. In the meantime, the killer stabs him in the stomach again with the knife. He then throws the killer away again and starts crawling up the stairs. He shouted for help, but his dad was listening to music, so he couldn't hear him. His mom was upstairs. He waves his hand, but unfortunately, his mom doesn't see it. Then finally, the killer comes and drags him away with him. Then his dad turned off the music and, as soon as he came outside, was alarmed to see his son so injured. He immediately ran to him. But then the killer also arrived there and pierced his hook through their throats. His dad died right there. At the police station, Deepika dozed off and had a very scary dream in which there was a beauty queen she was a fan of. Her face suddenly started distorting and quickly became badly disfigured. Then she suddenly attacked Deepika with a hook. Seeing this, she woke up in fear. The police release both of them, and everyone arrives at the crime scene where Deepika's fiancé and his dad had been killed and their bodies were badly hanging there. Seeing her fiancé's body, Deepika starts screaming very badly. She cries. Then her friends take her away from there. Ray advises them, saying to escape from this town by boat. So, she came to Ellie's ex's car. Here, she finds his corpse too. Ellie also starts crying. Then her friends bring her out too. Now, unwillingly, the three girls get on a boat and leave from there. The police had also started suspecting the father now. So they go to his house to arrest him. But going there, they were shocked to see that the father was also dead. Deepika and Ellie were in the driver's cabin, where they heard something fall. Meanwhile, the police find a group picture at the father's house where they see the dead man's partner, who was none other than Stevie herself. And here it is revealed that the killer is none other than Stevie, who was now on the boat with both of them. Stevie, the killer, suddenly attacks Deepika. Then she shows them her real face. "Yes, I am the killer." After seeing this, both of them were stunned. Ellie calls her crazy. Then Stevie said, "I am a strong, independent-minded girl. You can't possibly call me crazy." Then she says, "When my mom and dad died, how everyone left me alone. Because of which I completely broke down. Then I met that man whom you guys killed in the car accident. He was my only support. At first, I didn't know who he was. But when I found his body, I broke down again. You snatched my love from me." Deepika asks, "What is the purpose of telling all this now?" She starts saying, just like you snatched my love, caused me pain. You should feel the same pain as I did. That's why I did the same. I snatched your love from both of you. Ellie sees a flare gun and goes to pick it up. But Stevie stops her. Just then, the hook falls down, and Deepika takes it and runs away. Stevie chases her, and just then, Ray arrives to help. He reaches Stevie and points the gun at her. But she had Deepika held at the point of her hook. But somehow, Deepika hits her and frees herself. Ray had no option left now. So he shoots her, and Stevie falls into the water. Then Ellie is with Ray in the bar. When he takes off his shirt, Ellie panics when she sees the wound she had inflicted on the killer with a knife at the podcaster's house. It was the same wound. Now she panicked a lot and started trying to leave from there. But she found out the door was locked, and then Ray, the second killer, also arrives there with a hook. Ellie runs, but he grabs her hair. Ellie was no less. She fights him and attacks him and starts running. She then tries to break the window and escape from there. But he came back and catches her. Where Ellie was still trying very hard to save herself. During this, the professor also arrives, and as soon as she enters the bar, Ellie comes in front of her. On which Ray had attacked with a knife. Then he moves Ellie aside and starts talking to the professor. He says, Stevie couldn't get over the shock. When her parents died, and then that poor girl lost her love too. And I am proud that I supported this TV in killing her friends because she had lost her love after her mom and dad. Saying this, he was about to kill the professor too when, from behind, Ellie attacks him with a bow and arrow, which pierces through him, and he dies right there. We see Deepika again on the seashore. She was still alive. Now Ellie and Deepika were being treated in the hospital. During which they find out Stevie is still alive. Then both say, this time we won't spare her. Because one killer named Ray is now dead, so the other killer, Stevie, must die, and now they will only rest after killing her so that they don't have to face any problems living their full lives, so they don't have to fear dangers. And with this, the story ends right here.